but it would make the day go by a heck of a lot faster. Do me a quick favor and take a look down below the video. If that subscribe button's still red, it means you're actually not subscribed to the KCC channel. Please hit that subscribe button for more daily Reddit stories. This next story comes to us from Weir Cho. Won't replace a brand new broken lawnmower, but will let me return and reorder? Okay, let's jump right in. So, I bought a riding lawnmower a few years ago from a big home store. I paid for delivery, and upon said delivery, it didn't start. The delivery truck had left by the time I had gotten gas in it, and figured this out, so I called the store. I explained that my brand new just delivered today lawnmower was not starting, and immediately the person on the phone asked me if I purchased the extended warranty. I hadn't, so they told me it would cost $100 to have them come get the lawnmower, and then however much more the repairs were. Mind you, this was brand freaking new. In my mind, they should bring me a new one to replace the one that didn't work upon delivery. No matter how much I argued, this worker was sticking to their story. I quickly changed my tactic and asked what the return policy was. As long as a return was initiated within 30 days, I could have a full refund, including the cost of delivery, and the store would come pick up the mower for me at no additional cost. So I pointed out that the store wouldn't replace my non-working item by taking one trip to my house to pick up the non-working one and bring me one that worked, and instead would make 2 trips to pick up the one that didn't work and then bring me the new one I purchased the second time as a totally different transaction. The worker said yes, and when I tried to point out how that made no sense, he didn't want to hear it. So right then and there, I initiated a refund. I then immediately ordered a new one and had him set up the delivery date. After that date was set, we had to schedule the date for pickup of the old mower, and I made myself unavailable for any date other than the delivery date for the new one. So even though he had insisted they wouldn't just bring me a replacement mower and pick up the first one, they were now doing just that, but with the additional paperwork of processing a return and additional paperwork for delivery of the new mower. The manager called me later that day to apologize for the hassle, and they ended up waiving my delivery fee. In all honesty, that person you talked to on the phone probably knew that their whole policy was BS, but there was nothing they could do about it, and they spend their whole day talking to people who have a problem with that policy, and they know that they can't do anything to change it. One thing they could have done to make that situation better though, is just to simply admit, yes, I know it's silly, but that's how our system works, so it's the way we have to do it. This next story comes to us from Neville's Rememberall. Only want men to make your meal? Fine by me. Let's jump right in. I worked as a cook and carryout for an Italian restaurant for several years. Normally, I would work in the kitchen during the week and carry out on the weekends. My forte was cook. I was fast, detail-oriented, and prided myself on making the perfect dish. In the 5+ years I worked there, I was the only female ever in the kitchen. On Tuesdays, I was always in the kitchen and another worker, Eric, worked carryout. Every Tuesday, a customer would come in and order the same thing. The order was very specific and went against how meals are typically prepared. Things like they only wanted 2 meatballs instead of the standard 3. The meatballs must be separate from the spaghetti in an aluminum dish, not a styrofoam cup. A small scoop of sauce on the meatballs, etc. The meal was so specific, I knew it by heart and always made it. The cheapskate owner of the restaurant would have been pissed if he knew how much styrofoam and aluminum tins I had to use to make the order by splitting all the food out, but I didn't mind. Well, one day Eric decided to switch to serving in the main dining room to make more money. The first Tuesday he switched, the managers didn't have anyone for carryout, so they asked me to cover. As I was working that night in carryout, an old man in a black bowler hat and tan trench coat comes in the lobby. I greet him and am about to take his order when he states, "Are there any men working today? Where's Eric?" I was confused but went and fetched Eric, and Eric took his order. I asked Eric if he was related, and he said, "No, he just feels women are incompetent and can't make his order right." I was fuming. When the order was ready, I picked it up and realized it was the specific order that comes in every Tuesday. This old man must have assumed only men work in the kitchen. Little did he know he had just come face to face with the 5-foot, 100-pound female that had perfectly made his order every Tuesday for years. I handed him his order without a word. I was so angry by his sexism that I didn't want to speak and say something that would make me lose my job. I regret not saying anything to this day. He inspected his order and rolled his eyes when he spied the meatballs in styrofoam instead of an aluminum dish, but left without a word. After that, I decided if he wanted men to handle his stupid order, then I'll go with it. I got approval from the manager to proceed with my plan, and male coworkers jumped in to help. I asked Eric to not help him anymore since he was familiar with the old man's order. Besides, he needed to focus on serving anyways. Only other men took his order. I asked the male cooks to make his meal. I didn't tell the special instructions. No more special treatment with separate tins. He got the standard spaghetti and meatballs like everyone else. It would be what the male cheapskate owner would want after all. And no special discount codes that would credit him 50 cents for one less meatball. Only Eric and I knew the discount codes during that shift anyway. Well, every week his order was, according to him, wrong. He started to demand the order be remade per his requirements. He would be denied his requests, citing the cheapskate owner was cracking down on product waste. He got even more upset when he discovered he wasn't getting the discount codes anymore. After several Tuesdays of this charade, he finally asked to speak to a manager to voice his dissatisfaction. He asked, "Where is the man that was making my meal?" And the manager responded, "Oh, she quit." Looking back, I should have instead popped up around the corner and said something like, "I am no man," a la Lord of the Rings or something, but that was the best response we thought of at the time. Unfortunately, he didn't have an epiphany or realization that I hoped for. The manager just said he scoffed and took his food and left. He quit coming a couple weeks later, never heard from him again. Should have been more respectful to the female cook. Does anybody else get the vibe that this guy would be the kind of person who would say, "Well, I only want men working on my order when I'm at your restaurant," but then they'd go back home and when their wife is making dinner, they wouldn't take part in it at all? Yeah, there's still some people from that generation around, but as those generations pass on, fortunately, the world is changing for the better. This next story comes to us from Aubergine. This is the price now. Let's jump right in. So I'm not sure how malicious this is, but I thought it might be quite fun to post. I used to work in a Cath Kidston shop in London, which for those that don't know the brand, CK is very floral vibes, bags, accessories, and very classically British style. When I moved to London, I joined a CK store from a different one, having already been a supervisor. This was a busier shop though, so I started at sales assistant until the following year I was a supervisor again. The day in question was a Sunday, and I was the only manager on shift. A woman came in with a steep sense of purpose radiating off of her. She came to the till and laid down a quite frankly manky child's backpack. CK does these quite cute child-sized backpacks in all sorts of patterns like flowers, dinosaurs, anything. This one had looked into the abyss and stared back. It was so discolored. There was also some brown stuff scraped along the sides as well, which was delightful. The woman proceeds to tell me that the bag is broken, and she wrongly assumes I'm going to be extremely happy to help her. Even I cannot work miracles and return a bag which is definitely a few years old. It roughly goes like this. "I'm sorry, this is quite an old pattern, so I won't be able to do a return or exchange for you today. But I just bought this a few months ago. It shouldn't have broken already. It's quite possible you bought this at an outlet store, in which case you need to go to an outlet store to return, as the prices would not match. No, I bought this at full price. It was £30. I'm sure this pattern is from 2014 or so it would not have been in store recently. No, I need a refund or exchange. I bought it very recently. Do you have a receipt for a refund? No, I bought it recently, but I don't keep receipts. Can't you just take my word for it? I cannot process a refund without a receipt, unfortunately. It's policy. At this point, I realize this bag is going to come out to pennies if I find the code for it somewhere inside. But without a receipt, I can offer you an exchange or a gift card. Why didn't you say that earlier? Okay, well, for an exchange that you say is broken, I need to take the bag and record it as faulty. Wait, you're taking it? If it is faulty,